Welcome to Small Business CEO Radio, part of the Village Connector community, the People's Prosperity Network. Small Business CEO Radio is where small business finds big ideas. It's informative. It's timely. It's refreshing. It's Small Business CEO Radio. And now, here are your hosts, Sylvia Henderson, Lorette Farris, and Glenn Garnes.
Hello, welcome to Small Business CEO Radio, where small business finds big ideas. I'm Sylvia Henderson, one of the co-hosts, and
I'm Lorette Farris.
And I'm Glenn Garnes.
and we are bringing you, sadly and happily, our final episode of Small Business CEO Radio. And you're going to find out today why it's sadly and happily. So sadly, for me, I don't know about the rest of them, but for me, sadly, because the three of us will be doing separate programming to bring you more good stuff. But that means we're not going to be sitting in the studio all at the same time, slinging stuff back at each other and sharing what we've been sharing over the other programs.
So I don't know why this is a sad thing, and I'll tell you why. I think that the viewers and the listeners just got an exponentially better deal, because the truth is that we have three different areas of expertise that we were having to condense into a 30-minute show, and now we'll have a 30-minute show devoted to each of those areas of expertise. And when we really, really, really need to be in the room together, we can still come together and do a special episode of Small Business CEO Radio.
That's exactly right. And that's the part I'm looking forward to. We get an opportunity to share our expertise now, even with more entrepreneurs, right? But then when we need to be together, we will be together.
Yep. And that was the happily. It was just, you know, we created this Small Business CEO Radio. And you know how when people come into a workshop or come into a meeting and they claim their space, and no matter what, throughout the rest of the day, man, that space is theirs, and you can't get them to move because they've just embraced it. Well, you know, we've kind of embraced we've embraced what we have. However, just like good entrepreneurs, we also assessed what's up next, assessed what the public needs more of, and we've made that shift and evolved, and that's what every good business person and good entrepreneur should do.
I'm so glad you said that. Because that's exactly what I see it as. My good friend Jay Sammet, the author of Disrupt You, would call this a pivot. And sometimes you have to be willing to pivot before it's too late, or you don't wait until someone forces you to pivot. In other words, you don't wait until you're being disrupted before you make a change. Ask the newspapers. You make a pivot, you disrupt yourself by making the change early enough that you're in control of the action rather than having somebody else dictate it to you. So
yeah, and SBCEO Radio is all about helping to put information out there for businesses to understand some best practices and various things of that nature, right? How much better is it that we're also showing how collectively you can do some really great things, and then individually you could do it. We're almost like one of the rock groups, right? That we had come together, we did some good stuff, and now individually we go off and do just as good stuff.
Hopefully.
Except we're not getting paid the same amount of money, and when we do our reunions, we won't get paid the same amount of money. However.
Well, and I was going to say, and hopefully not like rock groups that split and do their own thing, we are going to remain friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or friends for the intellectuals.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
And so we really wanted to spend the rest of our time on SBCEO Radio to talk about what we're evolving, how we're evolving, and what we're each going to be offering our audiences as we move forward.
Right.
So before you get into that, though, make sure people understand SBCEO.com and SBCEO Radio still exists.
Correct.
It's that these three shows that we're each going to be doing individually are now part of the Small Business CEO Radio Network, and there's no longer a Small Business CEO Radio show that's done regularly.
Good point. So just like your television or anything else, your radio stations, we're the station to tune into for multiple programs, and there'll be more than just us too.
Right. Exactly.
In there.
Exactly. Yeah. 3 times the information, 3 times the number of experts and interviews, and 3 times the coverage of subject matter. So I mean, you can't. As I said, I think that the viewers and listeners are going to get a much better deal, because each of these topics that we cover deserves so much more coverage than we give it in a 30-minute period of time.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up. There are so many other talents also that are coming on that channel. So really being able to deliver some pretty serious information to the ecosystem that we work in, that's really one of the pieces that I take from all this that I like best.
It's like our points are creating lightning bolts from above as people see flashes.
Okay, all right, so now we got a new.
Really
now we have a new mythology show, but I don't know what that has to do with business.
So one of the ways we're evolving too is we've been less active on social media than we could be, and that's a little bit of what's going on right here in the studio. As you see the flashes, we're getting more active on social media, thanks to having help to help do that. Yeah. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So let's talk about what we're evolving to, what we're building for our own show, our own program brands. Do you want me to start? Do you want to go?
I'd love to hear where your show is going.
So, literally just figuring out naming and descriptions and all of that. However, that's been pretty solidly figured out at this point. So the name of mine, because I am the Idea Success Network brand as a program is concerned, guess what? The show is going to be Idea Success Radio. Ooh.
That was not planned.
This is what I'll miss a little bit of. So it'll be ideasuccessradio.com. What a surprise. Okay. And so I'm going to read you only because, you ever find out when you write things and you look at it later and you go, wow, that was brilliant.
And the thing is, when the first time around, right, you keep trying to make other things up and you go back to the original thing you put down.
This is true.
Yeah.
So the program description, the short version, 24 words, and I'm told it's not like fancy enough yet. So Mia's going to gussy it up, as we say. But Idea Success Radio is a business-focused video cast about trends, experiences, practices, and innovative solutions for moving thoughts and ideas to action for profit and for purpose. So that's a little short version.
Right?
That's not bad the way it is.
Yeah,
you can always wordsmith it and make it better, but that's a pretty good start. Pretty good.
And so kind of like, what will it look like? So then the bigger one is Idea Success Radio is a video cast, meaning, how we have podcasts? Well, people can see. Video cast. And I found out that really is a word that focuses on business owners, entrepreneurs, and service providers to move their ideas from their heads and their hearts and put them into action for income and impact. Sylvia Henderson, CEO of Springboard Training and founder of the Idea Success Network, hosts the program. And frequently, guest co-hosts will join me to share the love and their experiences and their perspectives. And listeners and viewers will learn how others experience their idea journeys. I'm going to interview people, business people, about how they took their idea and experienced making it reality.
Right.
They're going to participate in on-the-spot ideation and pitch sessions.
Okay.
So viewers and listeners will be able to call in ahead of time and provide and give an idea that they have, a thought, a new idea, a new product, a new service, an expansion. Hey, I've been thinking about kind of a comment, and we're going to pick one. I'm going to pick one, and with a co-host who thinks differently from me, which is the important part. Hopefully reach that person ahead of time and say, we're going to pick you for the show. And ideation is really brainstorming,
right,
and really hash out that idea to help them focus on an action that they need to take. Yeah, go ahead.
What's the criteria for someone to get on the show? How do they get in the lineup to be selected?
I just figured out what we're going to do.
All right, stay tuned, folks. There's more to come when we figure it out.
You know, I was looking brilliant until just now.
I was getting ready to call, though. How do I get on the show?
You want to find out everything at ideasuccessradio.com.
Great.
Not today.
Right.
Well, by the time
I know.
Because really, it sounds like a fabulous way to help people to just be able to understand how to really dissect their own thought process, when they're considering doing business.
Of all the things you described, and that's a perfect example of what I just said. There's no way we could have done all that justice in a 30-minute show where you've got time and you've got time and I've got time. That's an hour show by itself, packed with energy.
Right.
Yep.
But the one thing that I think is going to be the most popular aspect of that segment is the stories of how entrepreneurs came up with their ideas. Stories so inspire others to see themselves capable of doing something. And I think that, all of that's valuable, don't get me wrong. But it's the stories that I think are going to make it possible for people to see themselves capable of doing more.
Right. Yep. Right. That's what they'll drive the traffic.
Yep. Absolutely.
Wanting to look as well as wanting to participate.
You gotcha.
And so just to wrap it up, to give you guys a chance to talk about. No, I wasn't done. So,
but wait, there's
there
more.
Are a couple of other things. There's going to be what we're aiming for once a week, so about 4 episodes a month of the program. So it's either share, I do an ideation session or a pitch, because for pitch coaching, or not really coaching, but let's hear a pitch and then talk about that pitch.
Right.
So that's one of the two in an episode. The other, that's 2. The third type of episode I'm going to have is where is the business trend, especially here in the district, Maryland, Virginia area, is co-working. Co-working spaces, more and more shared office spaces kind of things. And so there are tons of co-working managers, owners, however way you want to define that. So the goal is to interview one of them in an episode once a month.
I think that's great.
So
I think that's a great target.
Yeah.
And talk about how you work as a group together, how you collaborate, and ways to do it even more effectively with our Idea Mind teams or other ways to do it. And then finally, the other episode is kind of to show, for me to just share innovative tips, practices, other ideas for helping you get your idea into action. So that'd just be me talking. Wow. It'd just be me talking.
Wow, so that's a very dynamic show. And
that's
there's a
the
lot
plan.
going on there.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think people will get a lot out of that. And again, I think that's the purpose of what we're doing here at the Village to begin with, providing that kind of information where you can't get it anywhere else.
Yep.
So making this pivot was completely consistent with the Village Connector community mission, which is helping people to invest in themselves through personal development.
Yeah.
And I think that this is going to be an incredibly effective way to do that. I'm excited.
That
Now you always have some good ideas, but let's face it, there are things that we throw out there and we're not quite as excited about them by the time we finish getting them out of our mouths. But you've had a couple of really good ones that you've pursued. I know you're not going to talk about the other stuff you're doing, but this ranks right up there with the other ones that are really
That's the 4 kind of segments. So we shall see. And I'm going to be looking for co-hosts. I'm going to be looking for people to tell their story. I'm going to be looking for folks for ideation and for pitching and all of that information.
Are you looking for
sponsors?
sponsors?
Will be sponsors. Some of this will be for fee, some of it as complimentary, but all of that detail will be worked out, and it'll all be at ideasuccessradio.com.
Nice.
Very
right.
cool, Sylvia.
Nice.
Very cool.
So, Lorette, what's up?
Okay. Well, I am pretty excited. I am very excited about how we've carved out what we're looking to do on our radio show. I'm sorry, was it on our video cast.
Oh, well, that's what I'm calling it.
That's okay. I'm stealing it. What's
your
line?
R&D. You're doing R&D. Rob and duplicate. That came from an old Dan Kennedy workshop years ago.
I love it.
Dan
so
the man.
I'm doing my R&D. So my video cast follows the two shows that we currently do. As you know, we do an event called Pitch Me. Pitch Me allows entrepreneurs to come on and actually pitch their product, service, or business to a panel of investors and or service providers. And right behind Pitch Me, we pivot to a show called Capital Academy, where those same entrepreneurs or others are invited to be interviewed, or I would change interview to have conversations with myself as host, one of the panelists, and or some other industry professional. So Capital Academy is all about helping entrepreneurs expand their story other than just standing behind a podium and doing their 10-minute pitch, right? When we made the decision to expand what we were doing, my thought was it's one thing that people are showing a lot of interest in watching companies pitch. They're showing a lot of interest in hearing their stories. But all of a sudden, what I realized was there is this whole platform of information that the small business ecosystem doesn't really get, that is specific to them and what they're doing and how they're doing. So I decided to do another version of Capital Academy, and it's called Capital Academy Recap. And the recap is all about, now let's understand some actual details of what's going on in the small business startup company ecosystem. And so that recap and that information is coming from actual topical news that is happening out there that is specific to this particular ecosystem. It also has to do with helping people understand what's going on with other companies by doing video press releases. Companies that have press releases out there that we don't see them, we don't know them, we don't know what's going on. I want to be able to give them some exposure. So the press releases are coming on. But the even more exciting part of what we're doing with that segment is I have set up an app on our website, ibossinc.net, that any company, if you're an industry professional or an entrepreneur, go to our website, ibossinc.net. On the left-hand side, there's a blue box that says send voicemail. Send us questions, comments, thoughts that you're having, because on the show, myself as host and my co-host, we're going to discuss those questions or comments that you have. So now all of a sudden, those who get to watch the shows aren't only listening to everyone else, but they get an opportunity to put their question out there, to put their comment out there, and then hear what we have to say. Now, the funny and interesting part is doing this in the radio room is a little more relaxed, right? We're not in a TV studio
right.
where it's more professionally done. So be really, really nice, listeners, with the questions and comments that you send in, because we are going to actually try to get to every question and comment that comes in on the shows. So I'm just really looking forward to hearing what a lot of the participants in this ecosystem are thinking and questions that they have. And I'm equally looking forward to being able to be a voice in giving them some thought processes along, the line of those questions. So that's what Capital Academy Recap is going to be all about.
So using the app, you can send questions and comments. And if you send a promo, send a check too, right?
There you go. I love that. And thanks for saying that, Glenn, because one part that I did fail to mention, when we review the questions, when we come across entrepreneurs who question really rises to, that it creates some level of passion. I want to be able to bring that entrepreneur in via Skype so that they're actually joining in the conversation I'm having with the co-hosts, as opposed to us only, bantering around about that response to get back to them. So that gives them an opportunity to even have some free press other than, a lot of information.
So consider the quality of your input, whether it's a comment, whether it's a question. Consider the quality of that, because you might be invited to actually be on the show.
Absolutely. And along the same lines with Sylvia, absolutely, I am looking for additional co-hosts. I want industry professionals that want to share their information and knowledge with this same ecosystem. Absolutely. Not only the show, but we now are on a live TV show, an internet TV platform. I want to be able to showcase individuals as it relates to that, and this gives us an opportunity to do that. So SBCEO radio, gets that opportunity to be out there in that space also, because folks get to see that. And so between the press releases and the questions coming in and the co-hosts, I want to be able to populate our ecosystem with thought processes that matters in this space. Not that they're only hearing news about your, Fortune 500 companies, things of that nature.
Yeah, that's great.
And a little bit about, because you said you're also on a internet TV channel. A little bit more about what's the benefit, of me asking an intelligent question, speaking clearly, coming across the way I would like to represent, as they say, because what's the value of that kind of distribution?
So what's happening with that, and again, and so thank you for asking. Here goes my 2-minute, right?
Hey, because you can.
So the value of that is iBoss Inc. TV is a live TV channel. It's channel 55 on actboom.com. So actboom.com is an internet TV platform, and iBoss has a channel there. What is the value of that? There are 100 other channels on that site, and there are some known names that are setting up channels there. So the site is marketing in order to bring eyeballs in, and every one of the channel owners are marketing to bring eyeballs in. So now all of a sudden, if you have a video press release, or if you send in an intelligent question, or if you decide to be a co-host or a sponsor, now all of a sudden your message is getting out to an audience you never expected to have. But I will extend that. And what I love about what we do here at Village Community, at Village Connector Media.
It gets a little confusing. We're known by we're known by many names to many people.
Now you know that when you call in, you'd better be succinct and say your name a couple times.
Well, it's a good thing it's on MP3, right? I won't have to remember the name. I get to play it. But my point is, what I love about what we do here is that everything that we do, we know in today's market, it is social media that gets your information out there, right? And Village Connector Media gives us an opportunity to get our voices heard in so many of the social networks. So being on a platform of this nature, being on the platform of an internet TV channel, being included where everyone that's participating is pushing information out to their individual networks, all of a sudden, you're really, again, hitting places you can't just do alone, right? And it's places that others are looking for more information. And Glenn, thank you, because this platform gives us the opportunity to do that. If I wasn't doing this program with you guys today, I wouldn't have the content to put out in those spaces.
Right.
And if this wasn't created, we wouldn't have the ability to invite others in to get their messages out. So I think just the whole ecosystem is just significant.
So you just raised a really important concept that goes over a lot of business owners' heads. It's not going to go over our heads because we're smarter than that. But when you create content, it creates opportunities for you to syndicate the content. Because in addition to the channel TV 55 on Act Boom, which is a beautiful, like it's like I'm not going to use the name. It's like it looks like the cable directory that you would see on a cable television channel, but it's on the internet. It's right on a website, so it's easy to get access to. But here's the point. You also syndicate that on your own channels, and you syndicate it on Village Connector TV.
Exactly.
So that's 3 different places, a minimum of 3 different places that people are seeing it. All you had to do is create it once.
That's exactly right. And just know that was my way of throwing the ball to you, because now we're waiting to hear about your channel.
All right.
As we're paying attention to
the
timing.
moment we've been waiting for. Right?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to make this real quick because my next 12 months is going to be about unlearning the process of talking longer than I'm welcome to talk. So
come on,
that was a lifetime development.
I actually started that. At our last member gathering. If you remember, I walked in, boom, and I was going. People were like, "He's done." No, was that really Glenn?
On time.
Exactly. So I've decided to focus my show on my passion, which is helping local businesses to market themselves. So our show, the new show, is called Keep It Hyper Local. And then I, of course, have the domain, keepithyperlocal.com. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be talking about all the different opportunities that local businesses have to more effectively market themselves in this very dynamic environment that we exist in with social media, communications technologies like video and audio, live streaming, all these things. Every single day, there's a new there's a new tool that comes out that has a marketing component to it. And there's no way that business owners can stay on top of that stuff and understand not just what this new tool is, but how does that integrate with the other tools I have. So we're going to be talking about Facebook instant messaging, text messaging, live streaming, retargeting ads, all these types of things, and not just talk about them individually, but show how to create communication systems that allow you to better be of service to business, to consumers anywhere you are in the country, anywhere you are in the world. And the idea is I want to make it simple and easy for merchants not to allow it to go over their heads.
Right.
Because that's the biggest challenge they face.
Where I think that is so significant is so many of the local merchants, I think, don't think about the almost grassroots way of marketing themselves to their audience.
That's right.
And this opens the door for them to see it, feel it, hear it, learn it, use it.
And in their defense, if I make pizzas, I'm thinking about making a better pizza.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so that's why it's important for them to have somebody who is saying, well, in order for you to make a better pizza, you need to focus on that. But in order for you to get people to experience your pizza, you need to focus on marketing. So let us help you focus on the marketing.
I think that's significant.
Yeah, and that's exactly where we are. Most people are expert at what they do. They're excellent at what they do.
Right.
They're just not excellent at marketing and promoting what they do.
Right. And I think you make a valid point there. For most of us in business, we went into whatever line of business we're doing because that's what we were an expert in. Well, the other things surrounding being in business, if you're not an expert, find one.
That's right. That's right.
Right?
Not everything has to be done by you, but it has to be your responsibility to see it gets done.
Right. It doesn't have to be done by you. It just has to be done.
That's right.
What is that? Exactly delegate, but don't abdicate.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
so that's what I'm doing.
Cool,
awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Well, it looks like our time is running out. Already, yes. And that's going to be our challenge, each of us, for our 30-minute shows in the 25-minute range probably, because we have to transition to the next person or the next segment. But it has been a joy sharing, I was going to say sharing the stage, but it's not. It's sharing the microphones with the two of you as co-hosts.
Oh, thank you.
I have a feeling this won't be the last time we're together in this room, but maybe for Small Business CEO Radio for a little while it will be.
That's right. Program, not
That's right,
channel.
for the program, not the
That's
channel.
Right,
the channel's
going to
be around. That's right.
So
in fact, the channel's for sale if anyone has the.
Well,
we can be bought.
We know there's going to be some good. We know there's going to be some good content. That's right.
So I would like to give a quick disclaimer because I'm not letting either of you go that quickly.
Yeah,
both of you are actually going to be the first co-hosts on Capital Academy Recap. So
I accept the invitation.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
And likewise, accept the invitation, and of course, the two of you will be co-hosts with me, especially you for ideation.
Sure, I'd be delighted.
And of
if
course,
you all
want
to come up to speed, on technology related to marketing on the internet, I'll be happy to have you on my show.
I can always
invite you to be on Village Connector Radio, though, where we can talk about anything we want.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. And so with that, we come to a close on Small Business CEO Radio program, and look forward to seeing all of us in our respective shows. Idea Success Network, IdeaSuccessRadio.com.
You made me see. I drew a quick link. Capital Academy Recap, which you can find at ibossinc.net.
All right.
And keep it hyperlocal.com.
All right. So we come to a close for Small Business CEO Radio program, where small business found great ideas.
Big ones, too.
All right, guys.
Small Business CEO Radio is a copyrighted production of Village Connector Community, the People's Prosperity Network. Permission to share, repost, and rebroadcast is freely given, provided it's done without charge of an access fee. If you have questions about this broadcast, or if you'd like to contribute feedback, please email us at feedback@sbceoradio.com. Thank you for listening to Small Business CEO Radio.